In this tutorial, we're going to take a look at a function called business entities. A business entity is some sort of organization that you as the RentHQ account owner own. For example, if you're a property manager, then your property management business will be a business entity. If you're a landlord, you may own a company, or you may own a trust, or you may own some properties under your own name, or you may own multiple companies or multiple trusts. Each one of these will be a business entity. Basically, anything that has a tax number is probably a business entity. So let's see how we use it. The whole purpose of creating business entities is for reporting. It means that we can create a separate report for each business entity. For example, a profit and loss report. You might want to create a separate profit and loss report for each of your business entities. So this is how we do it. So first of all, we create the business entities themselves. So there's this menu option here called business entities. Now by default there will always be one business entity in there, and that will be the same as your account name. So my account name is Demo, so I've created one business entity called Demo. I'm going to change this and I'm going to call it entity 1. And I'm going to create a second one called entity 2. The names are irrelevant. It's whatever makes sense to you, and you can choose a default bank account as well for each entity. Now the link is from business entity to transactions goes via the property owner. So on the owner screen, the owner is linked to a business entity. So I've got owner 1 is linked to entity 1, and I'm going to say owner 2. I'm going to change this, and I'm going to say owner 2 is going to be linked to entity 2. If we take a quick look at my properties, I've got property 1 which is linked to owner 1, and property 2 is linked to owner 2. So effectively this means if I create a transaction linked to property 2, that transaction is therefore linked to owner 2, which is also therefore linked to entity 2, because that's just how I set it up. So if I was to create some transactions, that's how they would be linked to their entities. So if I go to add a transaction, if I open the property combo here, you'll notice there's the two properties, the real properties that we've created, and there's also one called entity 1, entity 2. Now if you've used the software previously, there used to be something called general in here, inside the less than greater than brackets. It used to be called general. Well, it's still there, but it's now been renamed after the entity, and you now have one for each of your business entities. So if I'm going to create a transaction that is not linked to one of my properties, like let's say it's some office expenses, maybe I purchased some office stationery or something, I want to link it to the entity, to the business entity, but I don't want to link it to one of the specific properties. That's where I'd choose the entity as the property, and that transaction will then get linked back to the business entity. So if I come over to reports now, and I select a report which is linked to business entities such as the profit and loss, you'll see there's a new combo box here for business entity, and that's got both of my entities available. Now if you only have one business entity, this combo box will be hidden. You don't need it if you've only got one. You'll notice down here under properties, because I haven't selected a business entity, both properties and both entities are available. But if I was to select one of my entities, it automatically filters this list to only properties and entities related to my selection. And if I choose the other entity, then it's now got property 2 and entity 2 selected. Also, this owner combo box is now filtered as well. If I choose to go back to entity 1, only owner 1 is now available under the owner combo box. So if I was to choose entity 1 here, and I was to print a report such as the profit and loss, only transactions linked to that entity or to that property or to the properties linked to that entity would be shown, so I can create a separate report for each of my business entities. So that's how you use business entities.